Greetings. This is a three-part feet and legs practice. It's about a 45-minute practice, and it's got three sections that you can combine or do as standalone practices. If you do all three sections, I really recommend that you pace yourself, go easy, especially the first couple times, see how it feels afterwards. If you get really sore, you might back off the next time. First section is done on our back. It's a little bit of mobility for the feet and ankles, and then some strength work for the legs in bridge, various bridge poses. And then the second section is standing and seated, some work for your calves and some work for your legs. And then the last section we come back down to the floor and get a nice stretch. So feel free to modify. Please back off whenever it begins to feel like a struggle, and let's see how it goes. Thank you. So let's go ahead and start on our backs with our feet pressing right into the wall. Now, optimally, not having a baseboard would be preferable, but if you have a baseboard, that's fine. You just work around it. So set yourself up so that you can, when you lie down on your back, you can truly push your feet into the wall without feeling jammed. So if I were too close, I would feel like my joints were a little bit jammed. If I were a little further away, I'd feel like I had to reach for the wall. You want that right in the middle there. And look down at your feet and make sure that all 10 toes, or the consensus of all 10 toes, is pointing straight up. You're centered on the back of your heels, and your feet are about sit bone width apart there. I'll just take a moment and relax. Let your body arrive on your practice space. Bring some attention to the breath, slowly lengthening it, deepening it. And just feel your feet pressing into the wall there. Let's find the four corners of the feet first. So press into the ball of the big toe, just below the big toe there, that big mound of the ball of the foot on the inside of the foot. And then find the ball of the baby toe, press into the ball of the baby toe. And then find the outer edge of your heel, and then the inner edge of the heel. And then just move around those 4 points, those 4 corners, a couple of times, kind of defining them a little more clearly in your mind and in your feeling sense. Nice. Maybe go the other way a couple times. Good, and then let the feet rest a moment. So see now if you can press your toes into the wall without clenching them. So instead of scrunching them up like this, just press them lightly into the wall and see if you can feel each toe, baby toe, fourth toe, third toe, second toe, big toe. Good, and then just go back the other way. And this could be a project for many years to get that kind of differentiated sensation in the toes, but it's worth working on. Good, and then let's practice just pulling all of the toes away from the wall at once, all 10 toes, and see if you can spread them. See if you can get a little daylight between your toes there. And when you do that, feel how a kind of muscular engagement wicks up the entire leg, all the way up into the thighs. And then just rest those toes back on the wall. Let all that go. You'll feel the kneecap relaxing, the quads relaxing. Good, and then let's do that with the breath. So on inhale, lift and spread the toes. Push into those 4 corners of the feet as you do this. Exhale, set the toes back on the wall. Not passively, but without clenching. And then again, inhale. Lift and spread. Feel the action all the way up into the legs. And exhale. Release. Good. Keep going your breath rate. Good, just a couple more breaths here. Inhale as you lift and spread the toes, pushing into the four corners of the feet. And exhale as you release. Good. Last time. Now it's always okay if you're uncomfortable lying flat on your back because of some tightness in your low back. You put a little bit of a lift under your knees there, and just that little bend in your knees, you'll still be able to do the work with the feet, but your low back will be a little happier for it. Alright, good. Let's work with some inversion and eversion here. A lot of times the wobble in the ankle can feel a little unstable, but actually strengthening your ankles in this way will help prevent falls. So on your inhale, lift the inner edges of the feet towards you and press into the outer edges of the feet. Good. And then exhale, reverse that. Press into the inner edges of your feet as you pull the outer edges away from the wall. And notice where you're feeling this in the calf, the shin. Good. Notice if one foot feels more competent than the other, more awake than the other. Maybe pay a little bit more attention to that side that's a little less engaged. Good. So just feeling the side of the shin, the side of the calf turning on, strengthening around the ankle there. Good, and then one last round. And release, relax. Good, let those legs rest. Just feel what kind of awareness you have in your feet. You may feel just a little more in tune with your feet now. Good, and then let's work on some elasticity for the ankle. One of the main causes of falls is dragging the back toe, the back leg when you're striding. The back toe will catch sometimes because the ankle loses its elasticity, and so that when you bring that foot forward, the toe will tend to catch. So we're just going to flick as if you were juggling a soccer ball. Just keep flicking the soccer ball up towards you. Let this be a mildly explosive movement for the front of the ankle. And at home you can pause the video and do this really until fatigue, until you lose competence and you can't do this with that little bit of explosiveness anymore. That's a good time to hang it up. But I'll just stop there and go on to the other side. It's also a good idea if you know you have some history in the ankle, making that ankle weaker or less competent in general, start on that weaker, less competent side. Tend to pay a little bit more attention to two-sided exercises to the first side. Good. Definitely my left side is a little less competent here. And just a couple more, and as I say, just pause and do that to fatigue in your home practice. Good. Alright, rest there. And let's just wiggle away from the wall just enough that we can really let the feet go now. Let them turn out. Let your legs relax completely. Good, and then we'll start a little more mobilization and strengthening for the ankle. So let's just make some big circles here. We'll go a little further away from the wall. Go slowly and take your time so you really get into all the nooks and crannies. And then pay attention also to not just the ankles and the feet, but notice where else in the leg you're feeling action. And reverse the direction. Taking your time. Now if you have very different ankles, you might do one ankle at a time on this instead of both at once. That way each ankle gets its own fair share of attention. Very good. Alright, and then let's point and flex. So when you point your toes, curl those toes under like you're making a little fist out of your foot. And then when you flex, bring the toes back and spread them. Good. Point and curl them under. And flex, spread them wide. Nice. We've got a few more rounds here. Again, feeling front of the shin and the calf participating here. Go all the way to the end of your range of motion. And one more, please. Just inhale as you flex, spreading those toes, really broadening the sole of the foot. And then exhale, point, and curl those toes under, stretch the front of the ankle, the top of the foot there. Good, and release. Shake the feet out a little, bounce your knees around, and just rest there. Nice. Alright, we're going to move on to some bridge work here, and if you have a block, that would be handy to have. We're going to start with just regular old bridge with the legs parallel. So again, feet are about hip width apart. Sit bone width would be more accurate, sorry. Reach down with your fingertips and let the tips of your fingers just graze the backs of your heels there. That's usually a pretty good distance for your feet. If you can't do that because of knee pain or anything else, it's fine to have the feet further away. So find those four corners: ball of big toe, ball of baby toe, inner and outer edge of heel. And feel that the ankle is neutral here. You're not inverted or everted. And then lift and low, lift the toes up for just a moment and feel that footprint become a little more defined, and then keep that as you set the toes back down. Good. Alright, and then bring your arms alongside your body so you can press down lightly through the upper arm bones and then begin to push into the feet and come up into bridge pose here. Good. We're just going to focus on the legs, so we're not going to do a lot of stuff for the upper body as we sometimes do in bridge. So push down through the feet and keep the toes a little bit active. You can lift them if that helps. And lift the hips, pushing down through the feet, and then see how it feels to pull the feet isometrically back towards you as well here. So engaging the back of the leg as well as the front, the hamstrings as well as the quads. Good, just push down lightly through the shoulders and the back of the skull. Hit those hips nice and high and stay here and feel the work in your legs. Again, adding that pull as well as the push. It tends to give you a little more space in your low back and uses more muscle fibers in the legs. Very good. Alright, so you can stay as long as you like here. I'm going to come down. Very good. You can always pause the video, or you can come down. If I stay too long, come down and go back up at your rate of work as you like. Good. Alright, and then we're going to take that into a movement here. So same thing, you can lightly lift those toes if it helps you engage through the feet. Keep all four corners of the feet pressing evenly. And when you inhale, push and pull those hips up. And then exhale, roll back down nice and easy. So you can roll down one vertebra at a time, kind of curling your way down. Or you can set the whole spine down all at once. Inhale, come on up again. And exhale, release, come on down. Good, keep going. If you want to work a little bit harder, get the upper body involved, you can take those arms up and overhead. And then set them back down, trying to time it so the hips and the arms come down at the same moment. Good. And just a couple more here. Again, you can go a bit longer if you like. We're kind of going super slow-mo just because more muscle fibers are recruited that way. There's no momentum or gravity being used whatsoever here. Good. Come down and rest. If you want, you can stretch the legs out for a moment, bounce the knees, waggle the feet, whatever feels good there. Nice. And then we're going to take the legs at two different angles. So you can use a block between your knees here and take the feet wide. Block would be on its narrow setting. Or if you're okay with it, you can just press your knees into each other. Either way works. So notice there's an angle at the ankles here. We still want to try to push the outer edge of the feet into the floor, giving a little bit of a stretch on the outer ankle there, and further stabilizing it in that position. Good. Activate the toes if it suits you. I'm going to use the block because it enables me to push a little bit more. Feet are almost as wide as the mat. If you have longer legs, you can definitely be as wide as the mat there. We're going to come up and hold on this first one. Squeeze the block. Push down as well as pulling back through the heels there. Shoulders and upper back and skull are heavy, pressing lightly into the floor. A little bit of lift in your chest. And squeeze that block. You'll feel the inner thighs turn on. And a little bit of a revisitation of the quads and hamstrings that were used in the neutral setting in the last one. Very nice. Breathing steadily here. Good. One more big breath in. And come on down. Very good. And just take a moment there, take a breath rest. And then we'll put that to movement as we did with the first one. Set the feet, activate the toes. Inhale, sweep those arms up and over. You don't have to use the arms, it's there if you like. And exhale, back down nice and slow. Did a half a dozen or so of these. Inhale on the way up and exhale as you come back down. Good. Pushing the feet and pulling them, not allowing those outer edges of the feet to peel up. Good. So feel free to add more if you like. I'm going to finish on this one. Nice. And take the block out, set it aside, stretch the legs, let them be in neutral there. And then one last variation. So here, again, you could use the block, you could set it between your feet if you like to have that to press into. The feet will be narrow and the knees wide on this last version. So you can do it that way or pressing the feet right together as precisely as you can. And sending those knees nice and wide. So this gets a little tippy because you're on the outer blades of your feet if you don't have the block, so a little bonus core work there. And we're going to come up and hold. Big time engagement in the outer hip and a nice stretch in the inner thigh there. Pushing down lightly through upper back, back of skull, upper arms. Drag the feet back isometrically as you push them down. So even here, looking for a little bit of hamstring engagement. Very nice. One more big breath in here. And exhale, come on down. Very good. And then we'll skip the moving part with this last variation. Use your hands to help bring the legs together. Just because it's a little tippy, it's a little unstable. So again, stretch those legs out, pause, rest, feel your legs now. Hopefully they're a little bit awake. Probably have some heat in there. Hopefully a little more sensation than when you first lay down. Very nice. And I'm going to move to standing, and I think the way the camera is set up is you'll be able to see my legs, but perhaps not my upper body, so that shouldn't matter too much. You've done all this work before, so you know how to keep good posture. Whatever you don't see, you'll be fine. All right, here we go. Rolling up, and I'm going to take this part of the blanket away so that we have some sticky to work on. I'm going to set up the block. You could use a stack of books for this or anything with a firm ledge. And we're going to stand up and work on the calves a little bit here. So when you climb up onto the block, you want to be far enough away from the wall that you can take the hand to the wall and be very comfortable here. Let me turn around the other way. Actually, you'll be able to see it better from this way. Now, put as little of the forefoot on the block as you can get away with. So if you're feeling a little unsteady here, about half of your foot is going to be up there. If you're feeling like you could back up a little bit and still feel safe, then you do. I'm going to stay a little more forward. And all 10 toes, or the consensus of all 10 toes, is straight ahead. And I'm just going to dip my heels down, stretching the calf, and then begin to rise up onto my tippy toes, flexing the calf. Good. So keep going there. Inhale and exhale. Nice and slow. Again, we never want to use momentum. Also, watch out for the feet rolling out on you there. That's a balance strategy. The outer edge of the foot doesn't have as many articulating bones. So we'll sometimes automatically roll to the outer foot when we feel like we're going to lose our balance. Nice. Keep going a couple more times. Again, if this is too much, stop. If you want more, pause the video, keep going. You could do this with one leg. The rest of my posture is nice and tall. Back of the skull back, navel back. Nice upright posture there. I'm starting to lose competence, so it's probably time to quit. Stretch that calf one more time. Good, and then I'm just going to step down and move the block out of the way. And just pause here and take mountain pose. Your chair, we're going to take a few rounds of Utkatasana, sometimes known as chair pose, but Utkatasana is usually translated into something like fierce pose, and fierce is a little better description than chair for the feeling of this pose. So start with your feet a little bit, or your heels a little bit behind your knees so that you can get your center of gravity right over those heels when you begin to stand. Your toes are straight forward and you're rooting down and feeling the four corners of your 2 feet there. Begin with good posture in the spine, so root down through the sit bones, roll the shoulders a little bit back and down, draw the navel in, make your tailbone long. And just feel what this neutral spine feels like here. We'll try to keep that neutral spine as we begin to work the legs. So for this first one, just keep your hands resting on your thighs, and you'll lean back a little bit to get a little momentum, and then lean forward and just lift the seat right off of the chair there. So keep working the feet, feel all 4 corners of the feet. Take the tailbone a little bit down, bring the navel in and up. Lift the chest, lift the side chest, roll the shoulders a little bit back and down, draw the chin back. Now if this is feeling like too much with the legs this deeply bent, then just come up a little bit. Or if you want a little more challenge, you bring your seat right down to just hovering right above the seat of the chair. Listen to your breath. It'll usually tell you if you're working too hard. Keep the breath strong but calm. Take your last inhale here. And then slowly release. Take a seat on exhale. Good. Just pause a moment. Feel the pulsations in the body, the sense of work in the legs. You might even feel a little bit aerobic. Working those big muscle groups of the legs. Alright, we'll take one more with this neutral orientation. The leg bones are pretty much parallel to each other. Option on this one to do something different with the arms, increasing the load of the upper body, either taking them up overhead or out to the side. You could bring the hands together at the chest, or to help engage the back body, you could make old Cadillac fins out behind you there with your fingertips driving back. When you're ready, pick an arm position, lean back a little to get some momentum, and then as you lean forward, lift your seat off the chair. Good. Try to work both sides evenly, left and right leg firing evenly there. Navel draws in, nice lift in your chest. Listen to the breath. Feel free to take breaks. You don't have to stay as long as I'm staying, or on the contrary, if you'd like to stay longer, feel free to pause the video and do a few more of these. Last breath in here, and then exhale, sit on down and release. Good. Catch your breath. Good. And then we'll try to get into the inner and outer thighs a little bit more by taking the feet wide. So we'll come up into a pose like this, sometimes called goddess pose. And it's really important to work the feet on this one, or your natural tendency, whichever it is, to roll outward or roll inward will dominate. So use your feet to keep your legs really balanced, and let's give it a try. So fingertips just on the inside of the knees there. Lift up and stay as low as you can handle with calm breath. Keep working those feet. Inner and outer edges of the feet pressing evenly. Nice tall spine. Relax the shoulders. Pull your knees apart. Feel the outer hips turn on and stretch those inner thighs. Last breath in here. And then exhale, take a seat, and just pause a moment there. We'll do that one more time. Catching your breath. Feeling the heat in the legs. Nice, one more big breath in. Let it all go. And then let's try our last round of Utkatasana variation. So the feet are wide. Knees are on the same trajectory as the toes. All four corners of the feet pressing. If you want to do something different with the arms to increase the load in the upper body, feel free. Come on up. Keep working those feet. Nice tall chest. Open collarbones, no hardness in the back body. All four corners of the feet working. Pull those knees apart. Very nice. Couple more breaths here. Last breath in. And then release the arms. Take a peek there. Aim your sit bones back onto the chair seat. Bring your legs together. And just pause, catching your breath. Very nice. All right, thank you. We'll finish up on the floor. Okay, so for the floor portion, you'll need a loop in your strap, and like I say, you can improvise with a tie or a towel or something if you don't have a loop. Hold the two D-rings in one hand, take the strap through both, make a U-turn, come back through the middle, and then pull until you have a small loop just the right size for 1 foot. Recline onto your back, knees bent, feet flat, and bring your right leg, your right foot right into that loop there and take it up. Now if your hamstrings of the back of the leg does not allow you to straighten the leg here, it's perfectly fine to keep a little bend. And then the hands are going to come over the face and hold the strap tightly. So there's quite a distance between the foot and the hands there. On your inhale, the leg and hands are going to drop down. And on your exhale, the hands are going to pull that leg back up, and the hands will go overhead, and you'll get a little bit of a hamstring stretch there. Good. So this is a dynamic movement that we're using this to kind of segue into a more static stretch. And this is really a nice movement for exploring range of motion, as well as getting the various layers of muscle tissue to slide more efficiently within the leg. A lot of big muscles in the calves and thighs, and this helps avoid adhesions and other sticky things. Good. And then when you bring the arms overhead, don't slam into your edge there. Be sensitive, maybe a little flirtatious with that edge rather than barging in. Good. All right, and then the next time we come up, we're going to stay. So when you come up this time, try to get the foot right over the hip, even if that means bending the knee. If you can get the legs straight there, that's great. And flex the foot and spread the toes, and now walk the hands up the strap as you like. Make sure that the weight is not in your waist and is in your pelvis. So roll your tailbone a little bit away from you. That'll keep the stretch a little more honest in the hamstring there. Good. And just pause. Now to make this a little more dynamic's not the right word, to make this a little more engaged muscularly, you're going to gas pedal that right foot just a little. Feel the hamstring turning on while you're stretching it. Just pushing the ball of the foot into the strap to encourage the back of the leg to light up a bit more. Very nice. Alright, and then bend the knee, release that, relax. And now take the strap behind your neck, not the head but the neck, from right to left, and stretch the arm out alongside along the floor there, arm heavy on the floor. And again, this is taut like a guitar string, so there's some tension there. And now when you drop that leg out to the side, you're going to feel a little more support than if you were just holding the strap like this and dropping it out. And again, it's a dynamic action. Inhale and exhale. Good. So now we're sort of flossing through the layers of muscle on the inner and outer thigh. Good. Feel free to bring that leg across the midline as long as you can keep your right hip down. And then on this next time we're out to the side, we're going to put it in park. Good, and you can take the strap in the right hand if you like. It'll feel a little more like the usual leg stretch number 2. Counterbalance the right leg by letting the left knee drop off to the left. A little bit of core pulling you left there. Just try to keep the back of the pelvis pretty even and balanced back there. Good. Begin to fire your inner thigh muscles. as if you were going to bring the leg back up, but don't actually move it. Just fire those muscles, begin to move it, turn those muscles on as they stretch. Very nice. Reach out through the inner ankle, draw back through the outer foot. Beautiful. And then with an exhale, bring that leg all the way back up. Switch hands. Take your thumb into that hip crease and roll that outer thigh flesh down and away, and then just migrate your leg across the midline there. You'll know when the sensation gets strong enough that it's time to stop. And this is for the IT band, long length of connective tissue, a long tendon really that attaches down on the calf. So you could feel sensation all the way down on that outer calf there. Very nice. And release. Bend the knee into the chest, remove the strap, and just pause in constructive rest for just a moment. Feel. And let's try the other side. So take your loop over the left ball of, or left arch, or toward the ball of the foot. Your preference is, it's up to you. And then getting the heel over the hip with the waist away from the floor may cause you to bend your knee. That's fine. If you can straighten the leg, fine. Try to flex the foot back and spread the toes. And then hands are above the face. Considerable distance between the foot and hands. On your inhale, drop everything down. Exhale, bring it all back up. Try not to round your spine when you bring that leg up. A little bit is inevitable, but don't go into a hole like so. Keep the pelvis back, keep the back of the pelvis sturdily on the floor and the waist in its natural curve, the lumbar spine. Good. And again, we're not slamming into that hamstring here. The back of the leg will feel some sensation, but not terror as you bring that foot up. And then on this next one, we'll stay up and hold. Very nice. All right, you can walk the hands up the strap if you like, one hand or two, and a little bit of gas pedal there. So just by creating the action of pushing into the ball of the foot, you're turning on the hamstring as it stretches, which will tend to create a more lasting change in tissue length. Meanwhile, slow, steady breath, face relaxed, jaw relaxed. You earned this good stretch here. Nice, and then relax that a little bit and thread the strap behind your neck and into that right arm stretched out to the side. And the movement is dynamic to begin with. Inhale and exhale. So reaching out through the inner heel, using the core to keep the back of the pelvis steady on the floor, balanced. And then beginning to take that leg a little bit across the midline, get into the outer hip there, IT bend. And then let's go ahead and stay. Take the strap in the left hand and the stretch here. Right knee drops off to the side to counterbalance the weight. A little whisper of turning that navel to the right. And then fire those inner thigh muscles as if you were going to pull that leg back up, but don't actually move it. Reach out through the inner heel, draw back through the outer heel. Keep firing the inner thigh. And then finally, use an exhale, pull that thing all the way back up, switch hands. Good, you can get that right leg out of the way a little bit, and left thumb into the left hip crease, create some space there, and then just take that leg across the midline without letting the left side of the pelvis come up at all. Very nice. All right, bend the knee, release the strap, take the foot down. And then one last little exercise here to finish up with. Release those legs just a bit more. Make sure you're well away from the wall. On your inhale, you're going to slide your right heel up with the knee dropped out to the side. Swing the knee up to the sky, and then exhale, begin pushing the foot away. When gravity catches you, just let everything drop. Good, keep going. And the more you can really let go of that leg and just let it plop down, the better. Couple more. And last time. Good. Alright, just pause there. Feel your two legs now. There's a chance that that right side feels a little heavier, a little bigger, a little more relaxed. Let's try to balance that out. Left side. So let the toes drop out, the knee drops outside, and then when you get to the top, everything swings back neutral. And then just let that foot drop. Whole leg plops into the floor heavily. Good, last couple here. Good. Alright, and then set your feet anywhere that's comfortable. Give yourself some space. Again, if you need, if your low back's a little cranky, throw something under your knees so that the low back can release. Spread the arms out anywhere that's comfortable. Stay in final relaxation as long as you like. When you've had enough, gently bending the knees, rolling to one side, pressing up. Thank you very much. Happy legs to you. Namaste.